reviews, discussions, and theories about films in horror, sci-fi, and genre. This is the Horror Deconstruction. Like, share, and subscribe to hear more.
Howdy, strangers. How's it going?
It's the Horror Deconstruction with the host Komp and
Trilogy Boy.
As well as
T.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, most likely on YouTube, where you're probably watching us right now. Just give us a like, share, and subscribe. And today's film is
The Innocents, also known as De Uskli DJ 2021. There's a lot of movies with this name. This is the Norwegian one.
Yep.
Or wait, yeah, Norwegian, yeah.
The Innocents. Original title: Du Uskij. Oh man, I can't even.
That's
I'm not even
better.
gonna try that. During the bright Nordic summer, a group of children reveal their dark and mysterious powers when the adults aren't looking. In this original and gripping supernatural thriller, playtime takes a dangerous turn. Written and directed by Eskil Vogt, starring Raquel Lenore Flotsam, Alva Brinsmo Ramstad, and Sam Ashraf. I just ran through it because I don't care if I was wrong, so I apologize to those actors. So Thea,
You did great.
why did you?
I'm sure that you were wildly off on all
Why
of
did you
them.
pick The Innocents?
Yeah, Thea, tell us the story.
I opened up Apple TV and I saw it on Apple TV. I think I saw someone actually recommend it, maybe on TikTok or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, this looks interesting. And then also the director-writer is the same director from Thelma,
Writer of Thelma, not the director.
Right.
Yeah, so I had actually seen the poster for this movie. I'm not really into seeing children horror movies because usually for the most part kids are bad actors when they do this type. But since this is a European film, I guess they're probably better actors than usual. Even though you could tell some out of the main cast are non-actors, I would assume, or first-time actors. They're probably all first-time actors, right? They're like fucking 7 or 8 or 12 years old or something like that. So I had seen the poster for this.
I mean, they didn't really have to
I'd seen the poster for this film, and it wasn't really sold as a horror film to me. I guess, no, on Facebook, it was sort of sold as some, like, a coming-of-age
romantic comedy
kinesis film or something like that.
If you cut this in
like
a certain
thriller
way, you could make a trailer
Well, I'm
of this as
sure
romantic
for the
comedy,
director of certain horror movies, such as Clown House, this is a romantic
Oh, God.
Roman Polanski, Woody Allen, I think so.
Oh, this is the greatest movie. So, yeah, I'd seen the poster.
I want to adopt that little Eda.
The poster is great. It's just this girl who's in, like, what is this? Not a seesaw, a swing, and it's the opposite direction. It's floating in the air. It's really stunning image. And I was like, all right, sort of interested in seeing it. And then Thea was like, let's go watch. I was like, what the hell, why not? It's a European horror film, supposedly.
So Thea, what is this movie about?
Ida and Anna are sisters, and their family moves them to this new housing complex, or this new apartment complex.
Right.
And you can tell that Ida doesn't really want to move. We get sort of her perspective for a good chunk of the movie.
I actually didn't, catch that part. I kind of
What?
forgot
That
that
they
part
moved?
of it. Yeah, I kind of forgot that part. I guess, that
It just
makes
means
sense
they're in
that
a
they're
new
new
place.
friends and everything.
She has no friends yet, and so it's the middle of summer, so she's not in school and can't make friends that way.
Yeah.
So she sort of goes out and meets. Oh God, what is
These
his name?
parents really,
They just let him go.
His, oh my God, did you hear that? His name is Ben, the little demon kid. Oh, I hate him. I passionately hate that little kid.
You can kind of tell he's not. I mean, you don't tell how bad of news he is right away, but they did a good job sort of making it seem like he gets along with Ida right away because they sort of both have that childlike don't understand consequences
the reason you
of
can
their
tell
actions
he's so
yet.
bad is because he has really bad hair and clothing style. His hair, I don't know what it was about his hair, but it really annoyed me. I wanted to go in there and comb it for him or something. I don't care about this kind of stuff usually,
Yeah.
So that was the sign
it really
that he's a
bothered
villain.
You didn't.
It
you
wasn't
didn't
the
like that.
cat scene. It wasn't the cat scene that did it for me. It was the hair.
It was just the child's hair and fashion sense, apparently, that really offended you.
That was the
more
part
deeply.
that was offensive. Yeah, I think the director did a good job of conveying his villainy with that.
He sure did.
But I do like the idea that all these kids have psychic powers.
Yes.
And is it a coincidence that they all have it, or did one of them bring it out of the others?
Well, so they develop it over the course of the movie, basically, that like if they're together, they're the ones that have powers are stronger. All three of them have powers except for, or sorry, 3 out of the 4
Ida.
have powers. So Ida does not.
Yeah.
So she's the odd one out, and at first it sort of makes her feel.
Well, I think Anna's
weird,
like the main one that has powers, actually.
Yes, I think Anna's powers seem to be the strongest.
Yeah. Well, she does win in the end.
She does win, and then probably Ben's as well.
Yeah. I was so sad with that little girl, Aisha, whatever her name is.
I know. I was like, she's the sweetest one. Like, she's like...
She's so nice
pure
and cute
and cool.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
It's very heartbreaking. Anyway, so Danny, tell me a little bit about what happens after they meet for the first time. Like, their friendship. How does their friendship develop?
What is happening in the world? Things are just falling near me. I don't know why.
The whole world's falling apart.
That was Ben's doing that. The little kid. He's making things because I'm talking shit about him. He's making things fall in my room.
Don't you dare talk about my haircut.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Well, that little asshole shows that he can make rocks fly, and at first it seems kind of like innocent. A reference to the name maybe of the it seems harmless, but little by little you find out that he is a horrible monster that can possess people and shit. But at first it starts out slow, and then how does Anna get brought into it though? How does that other girl Aisha get in there? I kind of forget actually.
Anna, I mean, Ida is forced to take Anna out.
Right.
And she does this thing where she sort of like she pinches her leg because Anna doesn't react. So she thinks that it doesn't
she put
hurt
the glass in her shoes.
It's really rough, yeah. So Ida is like acting out because she's really miserable in the way that they're living, and obviously doesn't like really understand what is happening to Anna, because it's not. We sort of learn later that it's taken a while to develop.
I've never known anyone with that level of autism, like
nonverbal.
Yeah. Like, is that a thing that they can't even express when they're in pain? Like,
I've actually met people with autism. I remember that was the first time I actually consciously met somebody that had autism, because it's on such a spectrum that sometimes you just don't know if some people have it or not. And I remember, this person wasn't a nonverbal person, but it was certainly in their actions and when they spoke. I was like, oh, okay. It was just, fascinating to me. Not in a freak show way, but in a, oh, okay, this is a person on a completely different sort of wavelength in how they communicate to other people. And it was really interesting. And I thought it was, fascinating that this girl, this actress, who I think she was 13 at the time of filming.
She does a good job.
I'm assuming I literally thought they hired... No, she's not. I actually looked her up because I was so fascinated by her performance. I was like, wow. I thought they actually just had an actress who had autism in the role. And nowadays, I remember Sia, the director, got into so much shit because she made a movie that I forget the name. It was called Music, I think. And she had her protege, was this young dancer named Maddie Ziegler, I think, play the character. But it was the character came off like fucking Goofy the dog from Mickey Mouse, because she was just like ooh like that, and you're like whoa. And I'm sure there's people with I'm not making fun of that, the actual autism like that. I'm talking about this girl's portrayal, because she got
it's a very fine line between doing it right
at least
or
on the
making fun of
internet.
it, I guess.
It was one of those magical things where this autistic person has magical power to make people dance and sing, while this film actually has an autistic character, and I think was a much more respectable and believable thing like that. Because nowadays I think what happens now, with at least in the United States, they're you can't cast an actor unless they're autistic, plain autism. And over there, I guess in Europe, they're not really as
well. This person did a good job,
that kind of thing.
It was well directed and written.
She was fantastic.
It didn't feel exploitative like it can sometimes.
Yeah, I was so impressed by it, because I had seen this movie called Good Time. It's the Robert Pattinson film. It's basically the movie that got him noticed again after Twilight, where he kind of plays the scumbag.
He's a great actor.
And his brother is played by one of the directors. His brother is played by Benny Safdie in the movie, who's one of the Safdie brothers who did Good Time and that Uncut Jewels with Adam Sandler, which is a really good movie, and he plays a developmentally disabled guy, and I literally thought they had an actor. Like, if you ever seen the movie Kids, which you gotta have a strong stomach for that movie as a kid, but you think they just hired people that were what they were in that film, and that's what I thought they did with him. So that was I was so impressed by Benny Safdie and this young actress that I was like, I couldn't believe it. Well, do you want to regale the audience about what we spoke about then, if you're going to bring it up?
We were talking about worms in your poop, and then he had a story about a person who, like a stripper, who had a tapeworm come out of her butt on film and then go back in.
On a webcam and didn't know about it, yeah.
It's horrible.
So anyway, tell me what you guys in a little bit covered, because I wasn't able to hear anything you guys talked about. What did you
talk about? Hair,
the hair, the kid. And their friendship and how it developed, and then ultimately we didn't quite go in on the cat. We've only skimmed by the cat.
I was very scared about the cruelty of these kids, because I think in a European film, because you got bullies like kids. Let's say in that movie that we just saw, The Black Phone, where the kids were just kicking this kid's ass. Sort of here, like the brutality is right. That's like an American bully. And here, the bullies here are just everybody, because it's so like grotesque at how children act. Especially like, just from the opening, the main actress, the little kid, who's very good herself, when she's pinching her sister's thigh, and it's just like, she's just doing it to get a reaction out of her, because you can tell she is upset that she doesn't get the same attention from her mother. And it's just like, oh, I want this little bitch to get fucked. I was just like upset at her, because I was like you don't treat that like girl with autism as a unicorn, but she's still a human being, and I was just so upset throughout the whole fucking movie.
That was brutal, yeah.
Yeah, that pissed me off too, because when I had Googled the movie, I was just Googling the actress. That's when I had figured out who the actress who plays the autistic character. Somebody give me her name.
It is Alba. Pronounce it as Anna. Yeah.
Alba, right? So and in the Google, one of the Google answers was like, why does
Anna?
What is her character's name? Anna. It says, why does Anna, like, how does Anna die in the movie? And I thought I had spoiled the movie for me, so I watched the movie, the second half of it, with a real morose depression, because, like, don't tell me the way they're gonna kill this autistic girl in this movie, because it was already, I felt so bad for her character, because she had no control, so I was so when she actually made it through, I was, like, so fucking relieved, like, I was like, oh, God. Did you guys get into? Well, let's get into Sam Ashraf, who plays Ben. A really good fucking. This kid is a good actor, because he is. When I was started watching this, I was like, Danny has to see this movie, because we didn't know if we were going to bring Danny in this review or not. And I was like, this is the closest to a good Stephen King villain I have seen in a long time, and just how Stephen King writes his villains is just the worst of the worst bastards. They're usually adults that fuck with kids.
I was so disappointed.
I know.
Same here. So, Thea, give us a little bit about of Ben.
So Ben, we don't actually see it till quite later, but he only lives with his mom, and his mom basically, at least emotionally, abuses him, and probably physically too. I think we see her almost beat him.
I think he lifted up his shirt
and had a
bruise on his stomach, so I think she hits him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's dead for
sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, she's got to be dead. She got hit in the head with a stone.
And then she was screaming for him to bring her...
Yeah, and he... So he was like,
well, she probably had a concussion. You know what I mean?
Okay, I thought he might have been, but so I didn't know for a fact, because it never showed. Like, it just kind of left it.
Well, I mean, you see her body throughout the movies, unless she's just sleeping for a long time.
Yeah, she's toast.
She's toast. But yeah, the kid Sam Ashraf, I don't know. Like, I'm sure in some places, you know how delicate people are nowadays. Like, oh, why does the person of color have to be the bad guy? That's not the case in here. It's just he's just a kid with a shitty upbringing, and you can hate him. And I felt a little for him because of his mom being such a piece of garbage. But it doesn't. You can come from a really shitty background.
This was like that movie, The Good Son, but with like psychic powers.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah. And then let's also talk about, is it Kadri Yusuf as Aisha? Is
Mina
that the
Yasmin
girl? Or no, Aisha is the girl, right?
Aisha,
Mina?
Yeah.
Oh my god! This is the type of like a dark horror movie where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
she's the nicest,
Of
sweetest
course,
kid. Oh,
yeah,
of course, of course. And I don't.
Also, the
I don't know if she
mom's
was a professional
life is
actress
ruined, too.
or.
I know. Okay.
Oh
They
my
don't even
god!
touch on
Oh
that.
yeah.
She's gonna spend her
'Cause I
life
think
in
her
jail, like knowing she murdered her kid.
So
Go ahead, Thea. Talk about that.
It's horrible.
It was wild.
Thea, what's
Well,
your
it
thoughts
was-
on that? On Aisha's character.
So Aisha is like very lovely, and her power basically is like she can hear people's thoughts, essentially.
She's like Deanna
Yeah.
Troi from Star Trek, right? She's like Deanna Troi. She can like empathy, like emphatic or whatever.
and-
Empath.
Should be
Sorry.
sorry.
So she starts becoming friends with Anna because she can understand Anna and knows and like can hear her, basically hear her thoughts and what's actually like going on in her brain, even though she's nonverbal.
She's like a living string.
And she starts
Why
to,
the
and
fuck
she starts to
wouldn't they-
draw Anna out of herself, and her sort of parents are like, what the hell is happening? But it's because they're making each other stronger by being around each other.
But those parents suck too, because they won't listen to the kid, and even when she says that she could talk, they don't believe her, and then they, she does talk, and they still don't take anything she says seriously.
Yeah.
Like and why wouldn't this stupid little
It's-
asshole Ida just fucking like show them, like tell them what's happening, like.
There's a certain thing about these types of films, where especially this guy who like wrote Thelma, and I think he wrote a couple of other interesting films, that there's just a misery in it that's like he's very good at dread. Like it's just something dreadful about this fucking movie, where it's not a movie that's gonna make you feel awful, especially after the ending, but you do feel awful through it because like there's a real terror and horror to it, because there's only two, let's say, lawful innocent kind of type of characters, which is Anna
And Aisha.
and this young
Aisha.
girl, the one who's an empath, Aisha. They're like lawfully good kids. They're just good children, and they mean no harm to anybody else. And this piece of shit Ben character
I hate Ben.
is so, because he has no control over his whole life, that he's like he's just toxic, and he just destroys one of them. And I was so upset because the parts where you see him able to control other people to like do his bidding, like he hypnotizes people to kill other people.
Now that's something I
was
would
just like,
absolutely do if I had that
Vejmir.
power. But I would choose my targets.
Oh,
much
me too.
better.
Yeah, not just
It'll
children.
be only a
It
matter
wouldn't
of.
be innocent children.
Did we? So the biggest aspect that I saw when I was first reading about this film is the cat scene.
Right.
So Danny, let's talk about
I
that
don't
cat.
want to talk about it.
Much like Ben, Ben is much like a college guy because he can crush pussy anytime he wants.
Okay.
Oh man. Good for you.
All right, should we do the ratings or?
Yes. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about this? All I know is there was one scene, I guess it's a European sensibility, that I thought the FBI was going to knock into my house because it felt like unnecessary, because it was like the main child just puts her shirt on, and I was like, uh-oh, and I was like, I got to get out of my house. This is
Just gonna
scary.
erase your computer history.
Yeah, it's just like, but I guess Europe has a different thing about nudity and children. I just hope there's not. They should have cut that scene out. Yeah, I think everything is. I think this is a solid film. Is there anything that didn't work for you guys with this movie?
It's a little slow paced. A
Okay.
little too slow paced for me, I would say.
I thought it was there was no explanation of with the kids getting power. I almost thought of Pet Cemetery, something I didn't even really know about, but I remember Pet Cemetery is like children, and there's like a,
business.
yeah. Sometimes daddy is bad. And there's like a creature or something that lives in the forest. What is it called? What? It's some sort of creature. That is able to give people
it's
powers
something
in the movie.
allo. Not a bungalow.
The thing that eats people, right?
Yeah,
A
it's
Wendigo?
called
That shit is
a
called.
something allo, a bungalow.
Wendigo.
Wendigo.
A Wendigo.
That's it.
A Wendigo
It's
is
a Native
a
American
creature.
demon.
Yeah, when a person is eating the flesh of others, they become this sort of supernatural beast, and that's what I kind of thought about here. So this is a very Stephen King heavily inspired, although I don't know.
Well, but
if it's
Anna
actually
will
inspired
still
that
have
writer.
her powers, right? Even after this Ben is gone, or do they feed on each other?
I wonder. I think there's something certainly in the woods that gives them this power, because certainly focus on the woods when there's like wind moving through the trees, and there's some very ominous, but it's not necessarily explained, which I was fine with, because usually be like, well, what's going on? But I thought it worked for this.
I mean, these parents are going to see that their kid has fucking psychic powers, right?
No kidding.
Who knows? Who knows?
But I know that when
when
die down
Ben,
a bit now that they don't have the other people. But
well, that's what I was wondering,
Yeah.
if they had to feed on each other or what. Like,
I like the foreshadowing with Ben trying to stop Aisha's, heart from working, and then eventually it happened to him, and it just happened like out of nowhere. I was scared.
I was so happy when that stupid
Me
fuck
too.
died. I wanted to
when
kick
the
his
two
corpse.
sisters. I thought the two sisters were gonna fucking obliterate all the kids, because like the kids were crying. It's a very intense moment,
It's cool.
and you see the fear in Ben's in the Ben
Were
character.
those other
It's
kids
such
that
a-
were watching psychic potentially too?
Well,
what I thought was gonna happen. I'm
no,
sorry.
you
Go ahead, Thea. I thought that the two girls were just putting thoughts into all the children's head to see, hey, that kid Ben is an asshole. Because that's why I thought they were all looking.
Right.
Okay.
But then I realized they were just drawn to this sort of weird psychokinetic energy that was happening. Like it was fucking Akira or something. So when he gets knocked out and like a kid is knocked off of whatever plaything he was on, and the child is screaming, it was like such a spooky moment. Like it was more spookier than most sort of supernatural movies. So we'll continue, Thea. What were you saying?
well, I wondered if it was either like just that all the kids could feel it and were paying attention for that reason, or if Anna was actually like drawing power as like little bits of anybody
spirit
that had
bomb.
any kind of, and just
yeah,
pulling
Danny,
from
she's
that.
like go. She's
That's
like
like
Goku.
Dragon
She's gonna
Ball, like
go
a spirit
Yeah.
bomb.
Swedish ball, Swedish meatballs.
But if it
this-
was really like Dragon Ball, there would have been 7 more movies, and it would have just been her like, ah!
And since it's Europe,
and like you'd see the
since
ground
it's
shaking,
Europe-
and then it'd cut to like somebody else's face, and they'd be like, and then cut back to her.
And since it was Europe, Danny, they would have 500 Mr. Popos in there because they really don't give
Oh
a
my
fuck.
God.
Just like- it would just be the worst racial characters ever.
And then there'd be a
yeah, so
whole
I thought this
episode
movie-
where like Anna's getting her driver's license, and it's like her and
driver's
Piccolo
license,
driving
okay.
around in a car.
This is how you could tell Thea is a true a woman, because she doesn't give a rat's ass about Dragon Ball.
Are we
She's like,
still-
what's
are we
Dragon
talking
Ball?
about Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball's great.
So, Danny, what rating would you give The Innocents 2021?
I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Putting glass in your sister's shoe because you're a little fucking horrible bitch. And I don't care if you're a kid. I hate you.
I would give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Trying to enjoy your spaghetti dinner with your mom's rotting corpse after you've given her a Three Stooges like exit from this planet. Thea, what rating would you give The Innocents 2021?
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Just stinking like a dead body because you've been hanging out with your mom's corpse all day, and then just going out into the world and nobody really notices.
I guess that's what a lot of people do.
I
Thea,
guess
what
the
rating?
smell
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
Um,
So, Thea, what's the final word?
Final word is stab.
Danny, what's the final word?
Ass cheeks.